We're live! Fucking
Hey.
finally!
Hallelujah.
I have to apologize because Google is stupid. And Google decided to completely change its layout, and I hate you.
I was going to do hashtag Google sucks in Twitter, but I was thinking, they have more control than I do. I don't want to piss them off just yet.
Yeah,
Because
maybe not.
they also
Okay.
control YouTube, so that's my livelihood at the moment.
Yeah, and right now it looks like, yeah, the video did go live. Yay, yay, yay for that. And, oh, does that mean chat's gonna load? No, it definitely will not. Well, then I suppose we should just start talking like people on a live cast. So, welcome to the gaming live cast, everyone.
Having us.
Last one of these was done
Appreciate
was
it.
what?
Like over a year
500
ago.
days ago?
Yeah. So,
And I was just a
let's
question in like 2 of them, I think.
let's introduce ourselves. So I am Milk Jam Juice, the owner of this channel. If you don't, no, excuse me, I'm Commander Shepard right now.
Of course.
So yes, and this is my favorite channel on the Citadel. So, ha 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 ha.
It was my joke.
Well, I wanted the discount.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, Tom, introduce yourself.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Tom, also known as Panamanana. I'm here not cosplaying as anyone, unfortunately, except for someone who just got out of the shower. So maybe that could be in the newest Euro sim game, Wet Hair Simulator, 2015.
Why not?
Sounds good to me.
And
Okay.
that'll be my traditional one. How do you do, everybody? I'm Tigrex, also known as Ross, and I'm cosplaying as a Scotsman. And
Awesome.
failing dramatically.
Sweet.
It's always good.
Yep. Actually, I would have pulled it off if I just worn this.
Oh yeah, the hat.
Would have been perfect.
Traditional golfer's hat, which for some reason extends largely than it should. If
Oh
I
yeah,
do
the
this.
comment section is working. Because
That actually
Simon
looks
is
nice.
commenting now.
Oh, nice.
Good. I'm glad he's here to watch. Yes.
I
Okay,
always
so-
wear this whenever
I'd like to start by talking about what games have you been playing recently?
Ooh.
Oh, God.
The tough
That's a
one.
list.
I'll start with y'all.
Well, since I just got a PlayStation 4, all of these, I
Sweet.
just finished Infamous Second Son. This game is going to be the death of me, Bloodborne. It really is. Yeah.
I want to play it.
I would be playing Dark Souls on my PC, but my hard drive crashed. So, yeah. Dark Souls 1 and 2. My save's gone. Oh.
No good, amigo. No good.
Yeah. Oh, but among other things that you can't see, Fallout Shelter is one of the other things, thanks to an Android emulator. It came out like 2 days ago or something for Android.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant
been out
Special
for-
Filter. I was like, that came out at E3.
Yeah, it came out on E3 for iPhones,
Yeah.
not for Androids. It was like everybody who owned Androids, like, they snapped their Androids and like, ah. Well, now I can get an iPhone.
Yeah.
So.
Well, what happened? I tried to download it, and it kept like pinging out, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, by the way, you need a Wi-Fi connection for this, and I was like, fuck, Wi-Fi isn't on my contract, so I have to download it on my PC and then transfer it over to my iPhone.
Mm.
That's how
Yeah. Dom, what have you been playing?
Well, beyond the kind of same 3 games that I've been playing forever, which are Hearthstone, Rift, and an assortment of MOBAs, I've actually been going back to some of my old PlayStation 1 games
Nice.
and playing them. I've never played Xenogears before, and I'm getting into that. That's pretty fun.
I hear it's really good until you get into the second half.
I have yet to get there, so
Okay.
here's hoping. Here's hoping that it's good. I mean,
Yeah.
whatever.
I want to play that too, though, I'll admit.
Yeah, and a game that is at least partially similar to that, but ridiculously expensive, I've emulated, which is Valkyrie Profile. Kind of like almost a fighting game combat system in a traditional RPG. So
we have that available here in PSP, but I don't know if it's seen a North American release.
I think it did, but I don't have a PSP. And
okay,
one copy. The PlayStation 1 version is like $500 on second market. So yeah, I'm not a fan.
Yeah. I recently downloaded Suikoden 1 and 2 because those just popped up on PSN for like $5. Which totally kills all disc prices, which I thought was kind of hilarious but sad at the same time.
Sad for collectors, but better for consumers. I mean,
yeah.
If I was developing a game and it was worth $500 in the secondhand market, I'd rather re-release it to lower that price because that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh.
As for me, recently, I got a PS4 in December, but I didn't actually start traveling with it in Sendai until like April. So I just blew about 120 hours in Dragon Age Inquisition, and I've also been playing Dying Light. Finally got around to Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes.
The prologue.
Life is Strange. Oh, God, I freaking love Life is Strange. It's so good.
I gotta play that still.
I'm replaying Final Fantasy 13-2 right now because I'm probably one of 2 people on Earth who liked that game. Because it's like Chrono Trigger Jr. Because it's time travel based, which I like. But I've been having so much fun with Life is Strange. Holy crap! It's so much fun.
That, if I recall, is also time travel.
Yes.
A little bit of time travel, yeah. It's episodic, not Telltale Games, is it?
It is Don't Nod, who did Beyond Tale of Two Souls.
I heard that game was really good.
Yeah.
I really want to play that game. It's for the PlayStation 3. They might do it on PlayStation Now.
Yeah, but Square's Heavy Rain.
I want to play that game, but
I got a few hours into Heavy Rain, and I got really frustrated with it because the controls are terrible.
Jason!
Yeah, because it's like, I got really irritated because you go to this woman's house, and you have to go, like, pick up her baby and pat the baby on the back.
Oh, God.
And I was sitting there, it's like, press square, and it's like, press square repeatedly. I was like, okay. But it's like, no, you're not doing it at the right pace. I'm like, what fucking pace should I do it in? How fucking important is this to the story? And I got to the scene where I don't even remember where it is because I haven't played it in so long. But I got to the scene where you're climbing through the tunnels full of broken glass. And I messed up and like I got hurt by the electricity rays or something, and then I just kind of like I just threw it down out of rage, and that was about 3 years ago. Just because the controls on PS3 were just crap.
Yeah.
I should pick it up again, but
yeah, there's a game coming out actually in like 2 weeks or so called Until Dawn, which looks like it has a similar control format, but it might be improved. Which is a horror game where you play as 8 characters going to a huge resort in the woods, as you do, and there's a killer. But the story's got this butterfly effect where if you play as a character and you make the wrong decision and they die, they're dead for the entire game. So you can play the game a number of different ways.
Oh yeah, that's like Devil Survivor actually. Yeah. They time you on your battles, and you don't think time's too much of a big deal, but actually it is. And I tried to go save this dude, and he had been lynched. And they're like, sorry, he was a playable character, but he got lynched.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Sounds like a really awful milk advertising campaign.
What a way to go.
Got lynched?
Yeah, I got it.
There's like they're doing the facial scanning software, so they got like Hayden Panettiere, who played the cheerleader in Heroes. She's going to be one of the characters in it. Other characters as well. The demo they did was basically her in a jacuzzi, who then steps out, walking around with nothing but a towel, eventually running from a killer. It's like, well, that's going to get some eyes, of course, but
that's
I mean, well, that's
not
like
typical at all.
Where they had that like the
shower
underwear
scene,
and all that. Just like, guys.
The only thing that shocked me about that scene in Heavy Rain is how big her apartment was. I was like, how much do you take home a month to have an apartment like that? Seriously. That's what always kills me, like when I watch movies and stuff. Like, for example, I don't know if anybody's seen Stigmata, but it's this old possession movie, like super 90s, and this woman's living in Philadelphia, and she wakes up in this huge swank, like, loft. And granted, Philadelphia real estate probably is not that expensive compared to other cities, but I'm like, but she's a hairstylist, like a failing hairstylist. I'm like, wait, something is not right.
Now that I look at it, that apartment was freaking huge. Yeah.
Yeah, or like, if you watch any Western movie, like horror movie that had like Shutter, like happens in Japan, it's always the foreign like photographer who comes over, and they are literally in these huge apartments that no one could ever possibly afford, not even like millionaires, and they're just like, no, this is our temporary place, and I'm like, no, bitch, no. This place around me is $700 a month. Like, yeah, fuck off.
So, just a question for the live stream. Do you want me to keep tabs on comments?
That would be cool. I'm keeping tabs on comments too, but it looks like Simon's the only one who's. We only have 2 viewers right now.
That's all right. Well, we have a question at least.
Oh, we do.
I posted a link on FB.
Question is, what's the consensus on Toho? By John McKay.
Oh, you're seeing more comments than I am. Damn. I have never played Toho. I know what it is, roughly. The only thing I know about Toho is the song Bad Apple, and that people do a dance to it. Isn't it like a shooter?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there are like bullet hell games.
Yeah.
Like shmups with 1 billion projectiles on the screen at any one time.
Yeah.
I'm lost on this, unfortunately.
So it's almost like a mix between a rhythm game and Gradius or something like that, because you sort of have to like. It's all about really tiny movements and that kind of stuff, and anime girls.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but it's something like it's open. Something about it is open source.
I think one guy started the series, and it's been going on for years now.
And it has a shit ton of characters.
Oh yeah, that's all I know.
That's all I really know about it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm bad. I'm a bad Japanese resident for not knowing about Toho. I know
dare
I should. I know. No, I was really stoked when I went on this cosplay website and I typed in Mass Effect, and I found the other one individual person who does Mass Effect cosplay in Japan, and she did a Kikin Kasumi costume and a Tali'Zorah costume, and because of her, the tag existed. And then I blew up the tag with FemShep. But, like, she messaged me, and she's like, oh my god, you know Mass Effect! I'm like, yeah, I'm from the States.
Yeah.
It's a big thing here. But, like, she's like, nobody in Japan knows about this. Like, if you go on the network on PS4 and stuff, it'll show, like, in my region, it'll show some Japanese, live casters who'll do it, which made me really, really want to play multiplayer, but I just found out today that if you're not on PlayStation Plus, you cannot play multiplayer.
Yep.
Yeah, they updated the system.
Kind of sucks.
Same as Xbox Live now.
Yeah, I was getting really excited about that because I actually downloaded a whole new pack for it, and I was like, I'm gonna play multiplayer. And I get on, it's like, you want to try PlayStation Plus for 2 days? And I was like, no, sorry, I just really don't. Oh, I also bought a 3DS.
Nice. What games are you playing on there?
So far, Final Fantasy Theater Rhythm and Bravely Default. I have a Link Between Worlds too, but those
There
are
you
the
go.
3 games that I bought. Like I went over to Book Off, which is like a reseller here, and I picked them all up for like $15 a piece.
Nice.
So, yeah. Oh God, Theater Rhythm is so great because it's a music game, but all with Final Fantasy songs.
Oh.
Yes, and it's from every game from 1 to 13.
Okay.
Wow.
So
That's probably what? Over 200 songs, maybe more?
It's not every song though. It is a shit ton of songs. But it has like you go through each series, it has like it gives you the field music, it'll give you an event song and then a fight song. And each way plays different. Like the field music that plays different, but the best mode is the fight mode where you have 4 party members and you can choose a hero from each series and they'll level up and stuff, but like you have like each little note will come over on their side, and each time you do notes for them they do like the little cha-cha with the sword against the themed enemy for the game. So like depending, and if you do like a good enough chain you do summons, and like Ramu, Ifrit, and Shiva will come, but if you do really good Odin comes.
Oh, blimey.
It's amazing.
You don't want to be there when Odin comes. Sorry.
Unfortunately, like, I have never played 11, so I'm really sucking on the 11 levels, because I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I've played every game except 11 and 14.
Yeah.
I've played a few. I tried playing 13 on the Xbox 360, and I bought it like 3 times, but I liked it. It was just some of the fights were like, this is ridiculous. But 13.2 sounds a lot more interesting. It's time travel. So.
13.2, I didn't like 13 that much. I completed it, and I kind of still did not know what was going on. But when I played 13.2, it kind of retro-explained 13 in a much easier way to understand. And so when I finished 13.2, I went back and I played 13, and I liked 13 a lot more. If you can just get past the fact that you're walking down a hallway for 30 hours, it's fine. And if you can master the battle system and get 5-star fights every time, that's what makes it fun. Like, I didn't really understand the battle system the first time I played 13, but when I came back, it's actually fun if you figure out how to get the paradigms to work for you. Yeah, to stagger the everything works up to a stagger, basically. And, like, the faster you can get the stagger, you just wipe them out. But, and then like, the Final Fantasy 13-2, the battle system's exactly the same, except that you only have 2 main characters, and then you, like, it's kind of like Pokemon. You capture monsters, and then you level the monsters up. And,
of course, that's pretty fun.
And I hate that. I hate it so much. I just wish, like, you can get DLC to put Lightning in your party, but you can only get her in your party if you download the DLC and then you finish Caius on a 5-star battle, which is freaking hard. And I played Lightning Returns, which is 13.3. It sucks. Don't even bother. It sucks, and the ending will make you cry. Cry in a bad way, like, why did I buy this?
I was gonna say, I don't think I'll ever get to the ending, so
don't.
I'm not worried.
Just don't. Don't ever watch it on YouTube. Just don't ever watch it. Your life will be better for it.
I was so confused. I still from time to time get confused by how does anybody know how this series works?
Yeah.
There's just so many. I once tried to do like a review when Final Fantasy 13 came out. I did research, like, there are so many games. I am not doing a review on the whole franchise. I'm just going to do the one game.
It's almost like Zelda. It's just totally convoluted and eating its
right. Well, the main problem I had with 13 coming into it is, like, have you guys ever read the book Dune?
Yep.
So you have to learn a whole new language to read that book. But Dune does a much better job of explaining what these words mean. Final Fantasy 13 has a little codex on the side, and it's like, this is a she, and this is a fal'Cie, and this is a Seath, and blah, blah, blah. The cocoon is suspended for some reason. I'm still not exactly sure. I know it's like orphan, but I just,
I'm good with confusing things because I am myself confusing, so I kind of understood what things were, but I'm fairly certain if I go back, it's like, what the fuck is this? Just
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go into the last one, Lightning Returns, though, like, basically to the end of the game, it's like, oh, you know that story you paid attention to the entire time? Well, fuck that. No.
oh,
Yeah, and I was just like, bitch.
it's
And
like
then
I
I
just have
drank a,
zero tolerance for convoluted stuff.
and then I drank a half a bottle of wine and I beat it. Because that's how I beat games.
I was gonna say that. That sounds like a punchline to a totally different joke.
Okay, yeah, that sounds terrible, actually. Not in that way.
No.
But
it's the
actually, that's
equivalent.
what happened to me when I downloaded a bunch of retro games last year, and it was around like Thanksgiving. I had started playing Legend of Dragoon,
Ooh.
and which is a great game. And I ended up, when I went to the school I was working at, something had happened, and like one of the glands in my throat for some reason got an infection, and it swelled up so big that it pressed my vocal cords to the back of my throat, and I couldn't speak.
Oh, jeez.
So I felt completely fine, but I couldn't speak. And I cannot teach anybody if I can't speak. So my boss was like, you just need to stay home. I went to the doctor. He's like, you need to rest your voice for a week. Don't even try to talk for like a week.
Ugh.
And so my boss was like, stay home for 3 days and we'll see what happens. So I stayed home for 3 days, and I was like, I feel fine. So I just sat for like 72 hours. No, I'm sorry, yeah.
No, that's right. Yeah, 72 hours.
Okay, yeah,
3 days.
72 hours playing Legend of Dragoon. And there is a fight that fucking sucks in it. And like I just could not get it. So I drank a half a bottle of wine and I got it.
So you gotta do it.
I'm
It's
getting better at games.
It's like a potion you drink in an RPG that makes you better.
Yeah.
Basically.
The elixir.
Unfortunately, it gives me terrible migraines now, so I'm just like, I discarded that, but like, it makes me sad.
That's so fun.
Yeah. But
So on the comment front,
yay.
I don't know if you want to go back to it, but we have Satiric12 that says, what episode of Life is Strange are you on, and what is your opinion of the story?
Ooh, I just finished the episode 4, so I'm all caught up, and I'm replaying. I have 2 saves in which one save I'm doing one way and one save I'm doing the completely opposite way. Although spoilers, if you do not kill Frank's dog, you cannot kill Frank. No. If Frank's dog is dead, you cannot kill Frank. Because I was trying to kill him in my last save, but that was a save in which I killed his dog. So, yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but it's intriguing, I will say.
Well, there's this conversation in episode 4 where this Frank is a drug dealer, and you're trying to get like the code for his client book. And in the first episodes, like, people think that Frank is like a bad guy, but I have a feeling Frank is not a bad guy. He's just a drug dealer who just is there. And I don't think he has bad intentions. So my good save is the one where I didn't kill him. But like, he doesn't want to fuck with anybody. So like, if he gets mad with you, he lives in an RV and his dog is in there. So like, your friend Chloe is usually carrying a gun. And so like, on your first conversation with him, he'll get pissed. His dog will come out and start to attack you. Chloe will shoot the dog, and then she'll shoot Frank. And she'll kill him. And you can take the code from his pocket and then leave if you want to, but the story of Life is Strange is that Max has a rewind power, so she can rewind, and then what you have to do is actually tell Frank to leave his door closed, so the dog doesn't come out, and then you end up just like stabbing him in the leg, and so he doesn't die, but he just gets stabbed in the leg, and it's okay. But I have a feeling it's not. Like, him and Nathan, I have a feeling, are not, like, bad guys. They're made out to be the bad guys. And also David is made out to be the bad guy. But definitely, like, by episode 4, you can see David's not a bad guy. Yeah, because, spoilers, if you haven't finished episode 4, the bad guy's actually the teacher. but he's super super creepy from the beginning of the episode. And there's a really good channel called I can't think. Geek Remix. Geek Remix is awesome, and they do a whole like talking about the different theories behind Life is Strange.
Really?
But yeah, Life
Cool.
is Strange is really cool. But here's the thing. I was like, wow, Life is Strange really reminds me of Donnie Darko. Like a lot. And so I went but I haven't seen Donnie Darko in almost 10 years. So I went back and I watched it the other day. And there are some scenes that are straight ripped out of Donnie Darko.
Oh,
Like
really?
it opens up to like Max going down like the high school hallway, looking at all the kids and like talking about them. That's exactly how Donnie Darko opens up. Donnie Darko starts. Frank comes and he says the world is going to end in 27 or 28 days. It's in October.
Yeah.
Same thing happens to Max. She has a vision that the world is going to end in 7 days. And both ending things are a tornado.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are like lots of really crazy theories. Like also like the story of Life is Strange is there's a missing girl. And in episode 4, spoilers, you apparently find her body. But she's been missing a while. You dig her up, it smells. And the game doesn't focus on exactly on what you find. Because I looked at it in YouTube and kept on rewinding it to try to see what they were showing. But it just like something, it looked like something black and shiny with like something yellow around it. So like, they probably found a body, but I'm not sure.
If it's the body.
Could be probably, like they lead you to believe it is Rachel. But the way that game has twisted
really
around, it's good. It's good because like she gets the ability to travel through time through photographs, and you get to decide whether your best friend's dad dies or not.
Oh, that's gonna give you a big ripple effect.
Yeah. It does. And like at the end of episode 3, it shows what the effect is, and the character decides because of what happens. She goes ahead and she lets the dad die because
Isn't that a little sadistic?
what happens to her friend is worse in her opinion. Yeah.
That time traveling through the photo thing reminds me of the butterfly effect. It's sort of referenced in one, and it's in it's basically the plot of the second one where the guy can use photographs to go back in time.
Right, right. And the whole place is set in like one of those art high schools, and the main character is all about. She takes Polaroids of everything, and everybody makes fun of her. They're like, you use an instant camera. Why don't you use digital cameras? Selfie. The only bone I have to pick with it is how they make the teenagers talk. And honestly, I don't know if teenagers talk like that nowadays. They're like, oh, why don't you fuck your selfie, sad face?
I will say, as a former substitute teacher, they do.
It just sounds like what you would hear on,
especially in the United States,
reality TV.
Yeah, because like I hear Japanese teens, but I don't hear like American teens, so I don't know what they sound like anymore.
Pretty bad. I mean,
Okay.
I was bad, so I can't really say anything. But
yeah.
No.
Whenever I hear that kind of that voice, that tone, teenagers use, like, you have no future. You're done. You're done.
What I thought was even interesting was talking about the men in the story, and they're like, oh, he's so alpha, or he's so beta, which I thought was kind of weird. I don't know, like, because I usually hear that kind of thing on, like, Red Pill.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay.
Wow.
But
Not
then
exactly.
again, the developer's French.
So of course they're all
It's all satirical.
Yeah.
That's kind of like Grand Theft Auto. That's made here in Scotland. Actually, I've walked past Rockstar North a number of times.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. It's the entrance to the building is just funny. You would never know it's a gaming development building from the outside.
Yeah.
But their entire front is just a glass wall an open room that reminds me of a scene from Men in Black, a desk, and a huge Rockstar North silver logo just on the back wall behind the desk.
That's awesome.
It's like you walk past, like, that's quite obvious what that is.
Mm.
And
well, yeah,
like,
I mean, that's why I love Grand Theft Auto, though, is it's such like amazing satire. Like, as someone who used to work at GameStop, having parents come in and be like, well, I don't want my kid to play Grand Theft Auto, but I would love them to play Call of Duty. And that's like the exact same person that Grand Theft Auto is satirizing. Yeah. So it's, it's amazing. I love that they've created a market where their main audience is also the people they're making fun of. It's fantastic.
Well, for me, it's parents in video games are interesting because, like, for my parents, which is a lot of the kids I knew growing up in the 80s and 90s, like, their parents would limit their game time to like 30 minutes or an hour a day or whatever. My parents never gave me a limit, ever. Mostly because Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy taught me how to read.
Yeah.
And my parents basically had no problem if I was reading RPGs and stuff. So they're like, oh, you want to play Final Fantasy? Cool. You're reading. That's fine. But like as games evolved and we got stuff like Mortal Kombat, my parents didn't care. They're just like, oh, fatality? Neat. But when Final Fantasy V finally got ported to PlayStation, they translated it like you would translate Japanese to English, and like Galuf says like shit or something on one of the screens. And at this point I was like 16.
Yeah.
And my mom walks by the TV and she's like, what kind of trash are you reading? And I was like, what?
Shut up, Mom.
Yeah, and I was just kind of like, I was like, my brother plays Grand Theft Auto, and like, we played Mortal Kombat when we were kids. Like, why is this a problem? And she's like, wow, okay. Or like I mentioned earlier on the Three Old Dude Livecast, like I was playing Final Fantasy X-2 after the summer after I graduated college, and you get to the massage scene with LeBlanc, and she's like, oh. And like my dad was like in the other room in the basement, and like he hears it and he comes in, he's like, are you playing one of those porno games? I'm like, no.
Yeah, Dad, leave me alone.
Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna do that on the TV. Okay, whatever. Like, I was like, no, it's just being awkward.
Well, strangely, now games do go that far in some of them, like Mass Effect and
exactly.
Dragon Age and Witcher, I think.
Oh yeah.
Playing through that.
Yeah, but I mean,
far.
They're adult games for adult people.
Yeah.
And if children are playing them, then
I just love it when people get angry over the wrong thing. Like, you're angry because of Mass Effect. They have a human having sex with an alien, and then you can even do it where it's like the same gender. But you're not angry about all the murdering and the genocide.
No. No, because that's exactly it. I had a customer come in one day, and she tried to explain the reason why she wanted her 7-year-old son to play Call of Duty, not Grand Theft Auto. And she said, his brother is in the military, so like that stuff happens. And I'm like, it does happen, but like it's a nearly sadistic, celebration of war. And Grand Theft Auto is a satire of American culture.
Not to mention the stuff he'll probably hear online anyway.
Well, yeah, exactly. And it's like, I don't know how having your son overseas fighting wars suddenly makes it all right to have your other son blowing people's heads off, but not driving fast.
Yeah. At the very least, get him to play LA Noire. You can't kill civilians in that game.
Yeah, well, my problem is not necessarily letting your kids play violent games. The problem is just where do you, like, the completely arbitrary line drawn. Like, all of a sudden, hookers are so much worse than bombing cities.
Yeah.
Okay. I had no idea.
That's so American. I just, yeah.
I know. It's awful.
And here I am in Britain just like, why do I have to put up with this?
Yeah, okay. Well, let's get to the topic at hand,
Yeah,
which is newer games, AI programs. I can really only call them programs because we don't have really AI as a thing is not that good, except for one of those amazing programs that passed a Turing test as a 6-year-old.
Yeah, I heard about that. I was literally just playing Tomb Raider, listening to a podcast. Like, I'm sorry, what? I need to rewind this. I need to learn more about this. What in the world?
I didn't hear anything about that. So what happened exactly? It passed the Turing test?
Yeah, it
Oh,
did.
okay.
Yeah, the Turing test is. Sorry.
Yeah, the Turing test is basically when a human does not know it is not interacting with a human.
Yep.
And
If you've ever
however,
seen Blade Runner, when Harrison Ford asks those androids the question, that's the Turing test. Or
yeah.
a version of it, I guess.
But the only problem with this program is that it could not keep its answers consistent enough in the way that it did sound like a child.
Hmm.
So
it
basically,
succeeded, but like to a lower degree.
right. It succeeded at a kindergarten level, which is still kind of creepy.
It's like it's one thing for a machine, a program, to act like a human. It's an entirely another thing for a program to act like a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it came to that because it was like it could not keep its info consistent, and it couldn't keep,
a long while ago.
like, depending on what questions you asked it couldn't be exactly consistent. Much like children will be kind of fantastical about stories on the playground and stuff.
Sure.
I recall one example. This is entirely something entirely different, but sort of related. Where it's a test that's done to children. I don't know where it's done, but I think it's in America somewhere, where they test the children and they do like person A, person B in basket 1 and basket 2, where person A will put sweets in basket 1, then person A will leave the room. Person 2 or B will take the sweets from basket 1 to put in basket 2, and then person 1 will come along, and the question is, which basket does person 1 think the sweets are in? If a child says basket 2, they have no concept of like the separation of information. Like, if a person's not here, they are not unaware. They think they do know.
Yeah, object permanence and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm going to ask you, when you have been playing a game and a character has died or has gotten injured or something bad has happened to this character, have you ever been emotionally affected?
Oh.
Yes. I have the games right here.
I'd say right off the bat, yes. But if I was pressed to give a great example, I'd have to really think about that.
Okay.
Oh, I have 2 scenes from Gears of War 2 and Gears of War 3, surprisingly. Have you not played those games?
I haven't, but I've seen videos about scenes in them.
Yeah,
known for their emotional involvement.
Yeah, the character you play's best friend Dom is like looking for his wife, who's been missing for 14 years. Finds her in Gears of War 2, and it's like when I remember playing it, like, and it's like she's perfectly fine. She's just been in this trap thing, and it's like they embrace, and then the screen kind of goes grayscale as the camera moves out, and you see the real face of her. She's been lobotomized. Her skin is all like thin, malnourished. She doesn't know who she is. She doesn't know what's happening, and Dom is forced to shoot her.
Yeah, I just watched a video about that like yesterday, I think.
And then in Gears of War 3, 6 months later, in the game universe, Dom is like all depressed, and there's a scene where he sacrifices himself in a huge explosion. And I noticed at the moment he says his wife's name, the song with no lyrics, the instrumental to Mad World, starts playing, which was the trailer music for Gears of War 1 back in 2005. It's the
also in Donnie Darko.
Yeah, strangely enough, yeah. So the first trailer, it was a weird twist. Like when that music started playing, I just burst into tears, like the feelz, because it brings back it sends you all the way back to the beginning, and it reminds you of everything that's happened up to that point. And I'm sure there's been scenes in Mass Effect that have made me cry, which is annoying, because like, yeah.
The one that got me actually the worst, and
just remembered, yeah.
This is optional depending on how you complete the game. I didn't realize Mass Effect 2 puts a timer on you.
Oh yeah,
for your suicide mission. Yep.
I didn't know either. So, I got lucky my first time through.
Really? Oh, because I didn't.
Yeah,
I was like, I gotta
really lucky.
Like, I just got Legion. I need to complete his loyalty mission, and I gotta complete all my missions before I go on the suicide mission. Oh, bad idea.
Yeah, I did those loyalty missions the minute they popped up.
Yeah.
Completionist.
So you get over there, and Kelly, her name's Kelly, right? I think Kelly.
Yeah.
He's in the collector pod.
Your crew will suffer the fate.
And, well, Kelly's in the pod, and she's like, get me out of here, get me out of here. But basically, if you take too long, I don't know what the time frame is, but if you do not, after your crew is captured, if you do not go after them immediately, she dies.
Yeah.
And she gets turned into paste in front of your eyes, and it's just kind of like...
Yeah, I played through Mass Effect 2 again, and I somehow, I guess, was a little bit longer. My crew, the Dr. Shakwas was really upset with me.
Yeah, and Shakwas didn't survive. Because I sent her back alone. I was like, I'm not sacrificing my crew. So in 3, I got the other doctor. Dr. Chocolates.
I just remember what scene was the worst. It was so bad that I just turned my Xbox off and hoped it would revert back to the previous save, and it was to do with Tali, Legion, and the whole Geth Quarian war that was occurring.
Ah, yeah.
The end of the conclusion, where I was so hoping, but I didn't have enough Paragon, unfortunately, to have that option. So Tali, took her mask off and jumped off the cliff, and I was like,
"Oh shit! I didn't know she does. I didn't know she does."
Yeah, she does that. There is an option. I thought, I was so quick on the trigger when the Paragon option came. I hit it. Shepard kind of reaches over, but he's too slow. And it's even worse. I was just there for 5 minutes, turn off, and then I turned back on, and I was so happy. I reverted the save, and I was like, I'm not doing that option. I'm going to kill Legion. I don't want Tali dying, because in that particular save, she was Tali's girlfriend.
Okay.
Tali's romance option.
I played full-on Paragon, so both of them survive. No, wait. No, I think Legion dies.
There is that, I think Legion does die no matter what.
Yeah, it's like a self-sacrifice
Legion either gets killed or he sacrifices himself. And there's a moment I do enjoy with Legion, which is he says I. He refers to himself as an individual instead of the third person.
And, the other one I was really sad about was when Morden dies.
Oh, yeah.
When he sings the song from when he sings to you in Mass Effect 2, and I was just like...
I am the very model of a scientist Salarian.
Yeah, and I was just like...
stuck in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen other versions of that where people go renegade, but eventually they tell the truth, and Morden still does it. He knew. It's even worse when you renegade, because Morden knows you're lying. He's smart enough to know, and he's still going to sacrifice himself to do the right thing. Had to be me.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think
Jenkins. I didn't give a crap about Jenkins in the first Mass Effect. He died instantly. It was like, I don't know this guy. I talked to him very briefly.
Jenkins?
He was the first character that gets killed in Mass Effect.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, I don't care about him.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Is it Jenkins? It's something, but I love the fact...
It's the guy, yeah.
When the memorial is set up in Mass Effect 3, I looked at all the names I know that name. He was the guy that died in the first Mass Effect, because that is when things start to go wrong, really.
In the first mission, and you're just like,
And then, that first mission was really bad. You lost one of your teammates, and you lost the Spectre, who was supposed to be training you. It's like, how did Shepard ever become a Spectre with that track record?
Yeah, and what was it?
What was his name? Nihilus.
Nihilus. I haven't played that DLC yet, and I need to because I love what's her face, Arya.
Oh yeah, Arya.
Nihilus. No, I'm thinking of somebody else. It was the female Korean.
Oh, the female. Oh yeah. Oh Christ! I
cannot think of her name, and
I bought all the Mass Effect DLC. I still haven't played it in like 2 years.
Yeah, I had the DLC, but I actually just haven't played it yet.
Yeah, it was Omega, the Omega DLC.
The Omega DLC, and I want to play the Citadel DLC, which I have, but I just haven't played.
Oh, did you ever get Edie and Joker to get together?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a weird thing that happened.
No, really, I was so happy for Seth Green. That whole game is just like, no, you're not Joker, you're Seth Green. Like that's it.
Pretty much, yeah.
And the problem with me for Mass Effect 3 was by the time I got to that game, I had seen every single gamer poop for Mass Effect. So like I had seen all the scenes, but they're all messed up. But I saw the real scenes, but I couldn't stop laughing because like I kept imagining Joker like snorting crack.
Wow.
And like Liara turning into a transformer, and I was just.
I think I've seen this thing. Yeah.
There's so much stake. How can I care when there's so much stake? And like, I just like, Mass Effect 3 was kind of a joke to me because I'd seen all the gamer poop, and I was kind of like.
Yeah, it's hard to take it seriously. I always love the little things that call back to certain moments that are just like the community kind of made fun of, which was like, I'm Garrus Vakarian, and this is my favorite
rectum. Oh, yeah. And this I was like, this is my rectum.
That the gamer poop?
That's the gamer poop. He does.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
Oh, it's the best thing ever. You just go to YouTube and go to like Mass Effect gamer poop. It's the funniest shit ever. It is probably the best gamer poop of any game ever made by humankind. Like Manslayer does it, and he does a lot of stuff, but the Mass Effect is the best.
Yeah, I find that anything Mass Effect is actually pretty impressive. Even there's like a fan song called "You'll Never Be Better Than Commander Shepard."
Yeah, and what was it? Jennifer Hale or whoever the FemShep voice does, or both the voices. They read it on YouTube by the fire.
Oh wow, I did not know about that.
It was like faster than a cheetah, faster than a leopard, but you'll never be faster than Commander Shepard.
Yeah, no, it was like stronger than a Krogan, faster than a leopard, but you'll never be better than Commander
Shepard. Yeah.
It's like they had to use leopard because it's the only thing that rhymes with Shepard.
Of course.
Who was named after Alan Shepard?
I feel like I know that. Something to do with science.
The first American to go to space.
That's it, yeah. I felt like I knew it.
He's from Ohio. He's from Ohio, and there's like this big memorial at my university to him.
Oh.
Yeah, awesome. We have like a Shepard Center there. So like as soon as I saw Shepard, I was like, Alan Shepard! Yeah. But then I had to fact check. Tom!
Yes.
It's time to answer.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm kind of divided on this topic. One, because...
We've just been spewing a Mass Effect, so you got to mix it up.
Yeah, well, I mean, the issue here is I feel like it's pretty easy to get me emotional about a video game character, and I feel like a lot of games sort of do it without any tact or creativity. So, for instance, they'll have a character, a love interest or something, and then they'll kill them off. And does that really count? That's kind of by the numbers. That's kind of like as easy as you could, you know what I mean? They're really trying to make me sad. And that sort of detracts from it. But I would say when it comes to like building that sort of devotion to a character, building that sort of emotional connection, one of my best examples would be Alex from Half-Life.
Okay.
Because she's from Half-Life 2. She's there throughout most of the series, and because I think she was basically Valve's response to having a silent protagonist. They wanted to continue Gordon Freeman being a silent protagonist, but also wanted to have an interesting character. So
And
she sort of became
Yeah.
she sort of became an extension of the audience, and it worked really well because you just became so connected with her. Not because she was this, outstanding paragon of justice or anything. She was just a normal person put into a completely abnormal situation and forced to grow and adapt, just like any other, any other good story does. But there are points in Half-Life 2 and Episode 1 and 2 where I was just really upset whenever she wasn't there, and that's an interesting thing for a video game, especially considering she was sort of like a tag-along. Like Resident Evil 4, you don't care about Ashley or whatever her name is. You could give less of a shit about Ashley. If she died and fucked off in a tree, you'd be much better off. Alex was the complete opposite. She was there exactly when you needed her. You always wanted her around, and when she wasn't, it was kind of like an emotionally upsetting thing. So I thought that was a very good exercise in creating a great character that you can be emotionally connected with.
Yeah, probably one of the first silent characters that I got really upset if something happened to her was Yorda from Eco.
Oh yeah.
Because I got that right when I got my PlayStation 2, and I played the shit out of that game. But any time I get a game over because the shadows got her and stuff, I was genuinely upset about that because I was just oh no, even though she can be really she's actually not that annoying because she doesn't actually talk.
Yeah.
She just goes blah blah. So it's kind of it's like a Link thing where it's okay. I think if she talked, it would be different. Much different. In which I think
because then she'd be Leon.
Yeah.
What's
that? Me and my ex were playing Resident Evil 5 multiplayer, and every time we went out, we were just yelling Chris at each other.
That's funny.
Oh wow!
And the Eco thing brings up a good point. The spiritual successor, Shadow of the Colossus, is similar, but I think that what's weird about that one is that one of the reasons why it's one of my favorite games of all time is that it makes you have an emotional connection with the people you're murdering. There's only 4 characters in the game. There's you, your girlfriend, the Colossus, and these weird spiritual guys that are telling you what to do. And every time I killed a Colossus, I just felt awful. That's the point of the game.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're like, wow, I just murdered this giant, majestic beast that did nothing wrong. I am an asshole. And that's that's a totally different feeling altogether. That's not oh, well, I fell in love with this creature or whatever. It's just it sort of turns the idea of video games on its head. Go kill 12 bears. Well, what did the bears do? What did they do to you, man?
And
so I think that actually was interesting.
One interesting thing with me was when I first played Dragon Age when it came out. My first save, I played as a Dalish elf who didn't give 2 shits about the Chantry religion, and it was all pro mage. So the character Alistair, I thought he was an asshole. And I was just oh god, Alistair, I hate him. So there is a point in the game where you can choose to keep Alistair or you can change him out for Loghain. And I changed him out for Loghain because I was cool, new character. I actually didn't realize that Alistair would leave the party if you did that. And it's funny, if you do that, he appears in the second game as a drunk asshole. Because I chose not to crown him. I chose to crown Honora. Because I was just well, she's already been ruling anyway. You might as well make her queen. But anyway, so I thought he was a total jerk, and he was just programmed that way to be like that. But when I went back and I played my second save, I was well, I want to get the achievements for romancing all the characters because my first save I romanced Zevran, who I didn't really like. Because literally the trophy for romancing him is Easy Lover.
Wow.
Because he's the first character that will come on to you, and he's just hey, you want to get it on with Zevran? Yes.
I remember him.
Yes.
I blocked him out of my memory.
I have the dagger, yes. And I'm just like, okay. And yeah, and I was just like, oh, and there is an interesting scene though, like where you actually get into a fight with him. And the way dialogue is built in Dragon Age, you can engage the characters in dialogue anywhere, like even in a dungeon. So like I was in some like high level dungeon somewhere and I engaged him in dialogue and he decided to start like a lover's quarrel with me. Like over nothing. And I was just like, but I was impressed on how they programmed him like that. But beyond that, they're like, in the last battle, he's like, don't you want me to be by your side? Yes? And I'm like, no, you just go guard the wall. You're annoying. Like, but, so my second playthrough, I was like, okay, I'm going to romance Alistair and just see how this goes. But it's funny because, like, if you act really nice to him, he's, like, a total sweetheart. And, like, he's, like, a really, like, shy, like, nerd. And he's like, well... Or, like, if you'd be like, hey, I want to kiss, like, on the dialogue menu, he'd be like, oh, so it's more than talking you want. Ha-ha! And he does it every time, and it's so funny.
Word.
And, like, he's, I think, one of the only characters you cannot, like, take back to your tent immediately. He's like, I think I need more time. Basically, he's like Garrus.
Yeah.
Yeah, Garrus is like, I studied human anatomy.
Oh, God.
And I studied human mating rituals on the internet, and I heard that you like alcohol, so I bought some alcohol, and like Alistair's like that.
Wow.
But like I forget his dialogue line when you address him in camp. Once you're locked in a relationship with him, it's actually really sweet. And I was like, the second time I played with him, I was like, oh, he's so perfect, oh, what a sweetheart. Oh. So. Unfortunately, because you're both Grey Wardens, and if you make him king, if you are not a human noble, I was playing as a mage, you can't marry him, and you can't roll beside him. Basically, he's like, look, here's the deal. I can't marry you, but I still gotta have kids, so I have to marry somebody else.
Wow.
Yeah, and you just got to be like, that's cool, or just be like, that sucks. And I was just kind of like, that's cool, I guess, because I'm a mage. But what happens, like, if you go into the final battle with him, he will not let you, if you don't do the Dark Ritual with Morrigan and don't preserve your life, he will be the one to take the Darkspawn soul, and he'll die.
Oh.
So you have to, like, I kept him out on the walls because I wanted him on my next save in 2 and 3 to be king. And I was like, it was really interesting because, like, depending on how you treated him, he was, like, more endearing. Yeah. And for some reason on my first playthrough, I let Sten die. I don't know why. I was like,
sounds like an asshole.
Sten is the Kunari, who you save from the cage in Lothering, but it's completely optional. You can just let him die.
I probably saved him and I probably regret it.
Yeah, and I didn't realize what a cool character he is. He's freaking awesome. He's not as cool as Iron Bull, but he's pretty cool. But yeah,
I had extreme difficulty getting into Dragon Age because I thought it'd be somewhat like Mass Effect, where your character can actually speak back. No, he's a silent protagonist.
No.
Yeah.
Dragon Age 2 is different. It's more like Mass Effect because they do voice acting for Hawk. So Dragon Age 2 plays a lot like Mass Effect, but the story is kind of like that game has so many flaws, it's difficult to like because they recycle maps over and fucking over again, and
so
it
you
drives
go through the same area.
You go to the same area over and over again, and they'll mirror it or flip it around, and I'm like, ugh.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah. And it took me a couple maps to realize they were doing that, and I was like, this is all familiar, and I was like, why did they just like have a bunch of staff quit halfway through or something? I don't know.
Gaming politics is crazy.
If it was EA, that's probably policy.
Well, I know there was the problem with their writer who quit after Dragon Age 2 was released because of reasons. But like the thing I didn't like about Dragon Age 2, everybody was like, "Hey, Hawk, you want to do it?" Like freaking everybody was like, hey.
Oh, Jesus.
And yeah, so I like Inquisition is much better because it's much more like Mass Effect. Like my first playthrough was like a pretty cool Kunari dude, and I was like, everything's cool, like, whatever, free the mages. But I played my playthrough now is like I'm playing through like as a super religious zealot who's basically an asshole. And like depending how you play, your companions will hate or love you. So like on my first playthrough, Vivian hated me. But like on my next playthrough, she's like, so do you want to support me to be the divine? And she's like, darling, I just love you. You are just the best. And so I like once again, like I hated Vivian my first playthrough, but like my second playthrough I was like, actually she's pretty cool. Like if you play a religious asshole, she's cool.
Why is that always the way?
I was going to actually ask a question on that topic. Since we're talking about relating to characters, have you ever had a game experience where you, like, not that they're so bland that you can't relate to them, but that, like, the game wants you to roleplay in a way that's so against what you actually believe as a person that you just get completely taken out of the story?
The Last of Us.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I am playing through that as we speak.
Oh, no spoilers then.
It doesn't get that way until the very end.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I got the remastered edition for PS4, so.
Ooh, remaster's really good.
Also comes with the DLC Left Behind.
Yeah, that's good too.
So far, I'm finding it a lot of fun.
It's really good.
I don't know much about the story, and I'm fairly certain even if you did spoil something, I would immediately forget it. So. It's hard to spoil things for me because my memory's so crap.
It's definitely giving me up to play through, though.
Yeah. It basically what they do is they give you a game mechanic that you're used to doing, and you cannot avoid it. So you do it anyway, thinking that everything's going to be okay, and everything's not okay.
It kind of reminds me of something in like Splinter Cell Blacklist. There's a moment at the end of the game where it says execute the fifth freedom, and you shoot someone who you're trying to save. It's like, you got no choice, you gotta do it. That's what the fifth freedom is, apparently.
Yeah.
I hate those moments because they're always against the character.
Yeah.
Well, this wasn't against the character, though. Because it's interesting because they give you a choice of how to play Joel almost all through the game, but the more you play, you realize Joel is really his own person.
Yeah.
And you just gotta play as him.
Mm-hmm. I do recall, I don't remember where I heard this, but there was a concept where someone said, I would love to play a game in which the character is aware that he's being played with in a very strange way. Almost like playing Deadpool in a sense.
Like being influenced by some other being.
Like, I don't want to kill this guy.
Baten Kaitos is like that. Baten Kaitos is like that. That is an old GameCube RPG.
Oh, wow.
And they keep referring to this god spirit that's guiding them, which is referring to the player.
That's funny.
Yeah. And they're like, well, we should probably listen to what the god spirit's saying, so...
I was looking at my list of games on Steam trying to figure out, and I was like looking at BioShock, which there's the moment in BioShock where the revelation of would you kindly is like, whoa.
Yeah.
I'm in like my second hour of playing that.
Ah, spoilers.
No,
I just came in down into Rapture, and I'm still like in the place that's all stuck with like enemies and stuff. With
have to play it.
Splicer, yeah.
The splicers,
I don't want to spoil anything for you.
And I'm just
BioShock's probably one of my favorite games.
Everything's so dark, and it's still kind of linear at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm getting a little bit lost and turned around. So I'm playing it late at night, and I'm tired. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
So like,
God. Yeah, it just reminded me, it's like the arc of silent protagonists seems to be slowly disappearing now, because like BioShock Infinite doesn't have a silent protagonist. Alien Isolation doesn't have a silent protagonist. Pretty scary game.
I think they're better off for it, though. Like, I think the silent protagonist is definitely something you need to do really, really well And otherwise, I'd much rather hear an interesting story about an interesting character.
Yeah, I think maybe like silent protagonists used to be a technological necessity.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like limitations to what you were playing.
Yeah, anymore. But what is interesting though is take two old games, same publisher, okay. Secret of Mana, Chrono Trigger. It's interesting. Secret of Mana, the English version does not give you names for the characters, but they do have names in the Japanese version, and the main character's name is Randy. And it's really funny because the character art for Randy and Chrono are exactly the same. And I found out later by reading an Ultimania guide that the Toriyama was actually influenced by like Secret of Mana artwork. And that's why like two of the main characters, Marl and Pudim, look exactly the same, and Chrono and Randy look exactly the same. But anyway, Randy in Secret of Mana, he has an attitude. He talks for himself. So even though you're guiding him and his friends through this adventure, he has opinions. And they're kind of stupid. They're like stupid like JRPG opinions, but like, hey, let's get the mana seeds. But he talks.
I want to be the next Hokage!
Yeah, but the thing is, I feel nothing for Randy. Pudim, on the other hand, the girl, I feel something for her because her whole thing going through the whole game, she's chasing after her love interest. Who is, one, being controlled by an evil wizard, and two, some other bitch is trying to take him away. Who is also her best friend, who is also being controlled by an evil wizard. So that's, and like, they all die. And that's like a really sad scene at the end. I was like in third grade playing this. I was like, like her story is sad, and like the little sprite wizard, his story is sad too, because he basically he ceases to exist in the end because he cannot live in a world without magic. But you have to get rid of magic to save the world. So it's kind of like,
yeah.
But like his self-sacrifice is not like too emotional. He's like, well, I'm just gonna disappear, guys. Bye. But on the other hand, Chrono Trigger is like the epitome of silent protagonist. Because like you see Chrono, he'll be like.
I always love that.
That's funny.
And stuff, but like never says a word. And Marl's like, Chrono, I love you, and he's like,
sure.
You know, but they do that so well though. Like when Chrono dies, you seriously feel bad. You're like, oh, what did I just do? Shit. And like I have only played through once where I did not bring him back just to get the other ending, and I just because it felt it didn't feel right not to bring him back. I was like, this sucks. The only thing I really wish they would have done with that game that they didn't do was your choice with Magus. You can choose to leave him behind. Basically, you can kill him, or you can take him in your party. But if you kill him, it doesn't really change the story that much. So, like, what I wish they would have done is if you kill him, the curse lifts from Frog. And he becomes Glenn, and he gains, like, a final attack or something. But they didn't do that. And I was wishing that they did when I did my second playthrough, and I did kill him, and I was like, what? The curse doesn't lift? Come on. That made me seriously, like, rage. Yeah. Okay. Aerith dies. How does that make you feel? How does that make you feel?
I don't really give a shit about Aerith.
Okay.
I know I'm like the one and only person that doesn't give a shit about Aerith. Sorry.
Why do I know that name?
Fantasy 7.
Fantasy 7.
I thought it was Final Fantasy 7. I unfortunately had the misfortune of playing that on a PlayStation 1 that didn't have a memory card.
Ooh.
So I just replayed the first few battles over and over and over, and I was like, I'm never gonna figure. And I was like at an age where I wasn't really paying attention to the story. I had severe ADHD when I was younger, but now it's just depression and ADHD is gone.
For me, Actually, Tella's death in Final Fantasy IV hit me worse than Aerith.
Mm.
Because I felt more attachment to 4 anyway. But by the time I played 7, I knew she was going to die. I just didn't know when. But the first playthrough, when I played it when I was 14, about when it came out. And at first, I liked Aerith as the female character between Aerith and Tifa. And I liked Aerith, but actually I went back and I played it as an adult a couple times, and I went back and I played it most recently back in 2011. I feel so bad for Tifa.
Yeah.
I feel so freaking bad for her, because she's like basically like taking her clothes off and throwing herself on Cloud, and he's just like...
Wow. People are going to be happy that scene's going to get remade in the upcoming remake. Yes.
I'm actually wondering how they're going to render her boobs in the remake. Like, are they going to be redonkulous, or are they going to be more Advent Children about it?
It's going to be like Tomb Raider all of a sudden, like PlayStation 1 Tomb Raider Lara Croft compared to now Tomb Raider.
Like, I just don't think they can do the gigantic like double Z boobs like they did in the first game. It just wouldn't. And also the Barrett. Barrett's going to be a problem.
It just reminded me of some weird science when they're in the computer making a woman.
Yeah.
Well, you know, they're both going to be issues, but do you think they're actually going to give a shit and be sensitive about those issues?
That's the thing, because they're Japanese.
I don't think so. I think having a huge black stereotype and giant tits, not a problem.
And that's the thing, because like everybody's like, the problem with Barrett is that he is what Japanese people think black people are like.
Yeah.
And having lived here for a decade, I can kind of confirm this, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And so it's like, are they actually going to find a voice actor?
I would hope so.
To do this script? I don't know. I think in the thing, because everything's voice acted these days. Like, are we going to be reading walls of text with a remake? I don't really think so, but yeah, they said like there's going to be some changes to the remake, and personally, like, I'm not one of those people who really wanted it. Because I'm like, it's a classic. Let it be.
And make better games. Like,
exactly.
There's always opportunities to make better games, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Make a new franchise.
I don't get this whole remake thing. Like,
yeah.
You've already made 1,000 other Final Fantasies. Why not just make a really good one rather than being like, you guys remember that one you liked? Let's we for some reason can't recreate that, you know, success anymore. So let's just remake. Like,
have you guys played the demo for 15?
No.
I didn't even know there was one.
There's a demo. I've played it.
Yeah, it came with Type 0.
Actually good. It's actually good.
Might be the first Final Fantasy I finish.
If they do the story right, that can be the one in the series that can redeem it. Because so far, the way it plays really well. It plays as an open world. But it gives you quest markers and things, and there are some unique systems to it, like the dinner system or something like that. It makes like this delicious looking food on the screen. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so hungry. But like every time you camp, that's like your save point is like where you camp. Well, I don't like that. I wish that you could just save anywhere, like every other place. But like there's a area where in the demo where you have to go through this cave. And they do a lot of kind of cool different dynamics, like the problem that you have a lighting problem, so you can't really see what's going ahead. But it's not much different than like Skyrim or like Oblivion. But there is one point where you're like sneaking through the wall, and then goblins start coming through the wall anyway, and you have to pull out so they don't kill you. And it's actually like a really like heart pumping moment, because everything's completely it's not turn based. Everything is like real time, and
so it's more like Final Fantasy 11.
Yeah, but they got it right because they give you this attack that helps you target enemies. It's like a grappling hook move where you hit the enemy and it pulls you towards them. It's a teleportation move, which actually helps the game mechanics a lot. But there's also a behemoth scene. The whole demo is like you're trying to take down this behemoth. And I've never felt in a game since probably Final Fantasy VI, like, oh shit, it's a behemoth. Like, in 6, they pincer attack you on Shadow side quest, and that's like, oh shit. But when you wake this thing up, like, it gets up, and you look at its hit points, and you're like, and you're supposed to run away. You cannot win against the thing, and you have to have your teleportation skill down so you can get the fuck away. And so, it's pretty good. I hated. I did not like 13 that much, but I have high hopes for 15.
Should be good. And
the characters are not too wanky.
Yeah, well, I was wanted to mention. You actually mentioned Skyrim for a second there, but that was one of those big games for me that I wanted to roleplay in. I wanted to get invested in the world. I really wanted to, but the game starts off with a decision between two really shitty people. It's like, do you want a team with the really racist Viking fuckers, or the really like controlling, government evil fuckers? It's like, do you want to be the bourgeois pigs or the racist proletariats? It's like, I don't want either. I just want to murder everyone. And so that's basically where I got with Skyrim, was like, I can't be invested in these characters because I hate all of them.
Yeah,
there's no one I give a shit about.
My major problem with Skyrim is that, like, no matter what kind of class you play as, like, I played as a freaking, like, tank paladin character, and I still become, like, the dean of the College of Mages, like...
Yeah.
They let you in anyway, whereas in Morrowind and Oblivion,
limitations,
you can't. Yeah.
There's...
So, like, you can do everything in one save, and, like, I'm a freaking, once again, tank paladin working through my Thieves Guild quests. I was like, I don't need to sneak, I just need to kill everybody.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I was the same. I tried getting into it. I've got it. I've, like, tried playing through. I've never completed it because it's like, Then again, I'm more of the sci-fi nerd than the fantasy, but there are a few games that are like that break that exception and stuff. So
yeah, that was the thing. That was also the thing. Like, I sided with like the barbarian dudes, but like the racist proletariat dudes.
Stormcloaks, yeah.
But the thing is but like you said, like, they're both despicable.
Yeah, like one wants to restrict your religious rights, and the other one hates black people. And it's like, which do you choose? Neither. You choose neither. You just murder because, God, I can't. And what's weird? I love the game. I just can't
it's
get
a
into
great
it
game,
in terms of role playing. Like, I have no emotional connection because my sidekick Lydia was the first time I realized they could die. And like, I was in Markov, and you're like raiding somebody's house, and there's an explosion, and she died in the explosion, and I was genuinely upset. I was like, no, Lydia.
I'm just learning right now. You can have companions in that game.
Oh yeah. Once you kill the first dragon,
anymore.
You can get them. But the reason why I was upset was not because I liked her as a character, because she has no personality. It was because she was my baggage carrier.
She was your pack-mule.
So I looted her body as much, and she took all the viable stuff, and she died. And I was like, I gotta go find another follower.
It's like, if there's one good
thing, she's just gonna push her down her corpse.
She was strong.
Yeah, and then I went and I became a cannibal.
Oh, there you go. That's how you gotta be.
That does remind me of the companions in Fallout. There's like a few characters in the Fallout universe that I've been attached to. There was the cleric in New Vegas, who was a Brotherhood of Steel member, who had like a power fist for a weapon, and like you first meet her and she's just in that robe. It's like, who the hell are you? And then she takes you off into this weird section of the world, and then all of a sudden, oh, it's Brotherhood of Steel. I didn't know they were in this game. Awesome.
Yeah. Well, didn't they originally come from the West Coast?
I thought it was the East Coast.
East Coast, I don't know, something like that, yeah.
It was the NCR that came from the West Coast, because they had the California flag with the two bear heads, which actually looks pretty much like the real thing.
It does, yeah. And then, Dogmeat, very emotional character for me.
Who's also going to be in Fallout 4.
What I did wrong in my Fallout saves, but I never found dog meat.
Yeah, he's in the junkyard. He's in an auto junkyard somewhere in the world. I never knew he existed when I was playing the game, but I then found like, oh, there's an option for a dog in this game. Where is this dog? Because there was the perk that said if dog meat dies, a puppy will be born in its place and it'll be at the Vault 101 place. So
right, and I was just like, what's dog meat?
Yeah,
I had to look it up online. I was like, oh. But I just chose to keep what's his face, the super mutant, as my companion.
I was just going to mention him, Fox.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Guy Fawkes is awesome.
He's the best.
I had an issue with Fox. I liked him because he was like big and buff. He could take all the bullets and stuff. He could regenerate because he's super mutant when he's radiant.
Your arms.
But I once went to sleep in my Megaton house, and Fox, being a big super mutant, got stuck in my door. I was trapped in my bedroom. I was like, Fox, could you please? I can't fast travel because I'm inside Megaton. Could you please? I had to kill him, and it took so long to kill him. He wouldn't fight back though. That was the weird thing. I just kept like I emptied out I had like 500 rounds in my assault rifle. It was gone. I eventually had no bullets left. I just had to beat him to death with a melee weapon I was carrying.
Yeah.
It was like the longest 10 minutes of my life because like this is the worst Fallout moment of my life. I love Fallout, but this is the worst moment.
Was it heartbreaking?
But well,
and on that note,
I think it was more upset killing Wadsworth, my robot butler.
Yeah. On that note, what did you guys think of the nuclear bomb scene from Fallout 4? I mean, in terms of like ethics and how you emotionally reacted to it.
Fallout 3 or Fallout 4?
Not Fallout. Fallout 3. Fallout 3. Fallout 3. Did I say Fallout 3?
Do you mean when you detonate the bomb in Megaton?
Yeah.
I disarmed it.
I disarmed it. I did make a playthrough because I needed to get the Evil Karma achievement. I actually have every retail achievement in Fallout 3 on my Xbox 360, but now I have it for Steam, so I got to do it all over again. If I can download it.
Yeah.
On a 1.5 megabit download connection, that is going to take forever.
I've
only ever blown up Megaton once, and it made me so sad when I went back to Megaton. I found like the shopkeeper who was now a ghoul, the loopy shopkeeper who now became a ghoul who wanted to do the Wasteland Survival. I just walked into Megaton and just let the radiation kill me. I was so upset. It's like, I didn't think it would actually do this kind of damage, but I guess it's a bomb, so yeah.
I actually had no idea that existed, once again, until I watched a video a couple days ago.
Yeah, you gotta talk to Burke.
I didn't go into the pub for Morty already to give me the quest to detonate it.
Well, were you playing an American version of the game? Because I remember on release they censored the Japanese version to not have that quest in it.
Right. But no, I was playing a North American version, disc.
Oh, okay.
And I got the quest from Lucas Sims, and he's like, "Oh, can you detonate it?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, sure." And then I took a bunch of drugs and got to get my skill up and not detonate it, disarm it. So I took a bunch of the drugs.
The mentats to make you
mentats to up my skill. Then I detonated. I was like, ugh. So I didn't even realize it was an option.
Yeah, I was like, if they're giving me the option to disarm it, there's probably an option somewhere to explode it. But there's actually another thing you can do, which is if you speak to Burke and he gives you the components, you can go to Lucas Sims, give him the parts, and tell him, hey, this Burke is a dick. You should go and get him arrested. But you have to go with him because Burke will kill Lucas if you're not quick enough, because he has a silenced 10mm pistol. So you kill him.
Interesting.
I once actually killed Burke before that, and then Lucas tried to kill me. Even though he knew Burke was here to blow up everyone, I killed him, but he didn't technically start the fight, so you have to shoot him after he starts shooting. So
what was it? Bethesda Games AI is messed up. Because that happened to me, like a similar thing happened to me in Skyrim, where like you get married, and I married one of the werewolf dudes from the Fighters Guild. So he's like, we're like chilling in our house in Whiterun, And I was like, I wonder what happens if I turn into a werewolf in the house. And he tries to kill you.
Wow.
And I was like, but wait a minute, he's a werewolf too, and he was the person who like did my initiation. What the hell? What's the problem?
Werewolf glass ceiling too.
That's funny. I think I've heard like there's a glitch in that game where if you become a werewolf and do like, I think it's Dawn Guard, and you become a vampire, you die. I think. I'm not sure. Because you can't be a werewolf and a vampire.
And a vampire. Yeah.
Yeah. I might be might have that entirely wrong. I
was
learn
a
like
cannibal, thief, mage, fighter.
When I learned about the cannibals in Fallout 3, I was like, ooh, tempting.
Yeah.
But I learned that if you do become a cannibal, bad people come after you. So it's like, that's fair.
Well,
but the thing about Fallout 4 I heard about like a week ago was that there's going to be no level cap.
Yeah.
You can just level up forever. And I'm like, Bethesda, you have sucked out every hour of my life now. You're doing it with Fallout Shelter. You've now done it with Fallout 4.
If you get the Brotherhood of Steel DLC, though, I think they cap at 50. But
no,
still,
I mean in Fallout 4, the future one, there's going to be no level cap.
But I'm saying, like in 3, if you get the DLC, it becomes 50.
Yeah. It's like, the Brotherhood of that the ending to Fallout 3 was like, I didn't. No, I liked it. It was just, it took me forever. It took me a long time to figure out. It's like, what buttons do I press? What number is it? And I was like, oh, it's the thing in the beginning, Revelation 21:6. I get it now. Damn, Liam Neeson.
What I find so funny about this is like, with a game like Fallout or Skyrim, I have no ethical qualms role-playing as a cannibal. Role-playing as a racist, really, like, I can't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, it's almost. I think it's because that obviously cannibalism is real too, but like that shit is way closer to home than cannibalism.
Yeah.
And there's almost, especially in something like Fallout, or it's part of like the mythos, like survival and all that stuff. So I can sort of do that. I just think that's interesting that I can do something that's like horrible and feel much better about it than something that's, horrible as well. But like. It just the way that like the stories are a little bit closer to reality, and like the closer it gets, the harder I get, the harder I can deal with it. I can't really,
or there's
really
like
reconcile.
The Pit DLC.
Oh yeah.
Like you get the choice between developing the cure from the baby or freeing everybody from slavery.
Oh god, that was tricky. I think I developed the cure.
I freed the slaves, and they're just like, what do we do with the baby? Well, we're just going to try to take care of it and maybe get a cure, but
yeah.
Why didn't you go collect teddy bears?
Oh.
Okay.
I didn't know about that. I would have done, if I had known there was a collection port. I collect everything. I collect the steel for the guy who does the water treatment. I collect the pre-war books for the scribe of the Brotherhood of Steel. What else is there?
Yeah, like the woman there, she'll give you like a bottle cap, like pretty much nothing for the teddy bears, but
I'd still collect the teddy bears. Like
I still do it anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. The railway rifle was so much fun though. You could fire a teddy bear at people and kill them if you're lucky. Ridiculous weapon. I do like the weapon. When I saw the Fallout 4 the Bethesda panel, I was like, this is the Fallout I have wanted. It has everything. You can build your own base. You can do all the electronic stuff. You can make your own weapons. It has everything. And custom power armor. Oh.
Yeah.
It's like, Bethesda, you actually did something not many game developers do, which is listen to your players.
Yeah, that's actually, Square did that when they actually re-released a patch for the Final Fantasy 15 demo because people complained about certain aspects of the combat and they fixed it.
Damn. For the demo?
I was like, what? Square listened? So what?
Well, I know it's not necessarily the topic of this video, but I just want to interject that as a developer, sometimes listening to your fans is not the best thing to do.
Yeah,
not always.
As someone who plays games that have a large fan base full of people who don't know what they're talking about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's some fans
like to their fans for Street Fighter, it would just not work because everyone wants their main character to have an invulnerable move that does 1 billion damage. So it's just like, okay, well, we can't and don't want to do that. So there is definitely a line you need to draw when it comes to listening to feedback.
Yeah, there's like, it's like, is the aspect I'm thinking of Fallout is like, people want to build their own bases. I think we can try that out. But other things like, no, just no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of any more like really.
I do wish there was that kind of like that romance option in Fallout, but there really wasn't. I think there's. I think it's in Skyrim where you can
It's in
marry
Skyrim.
people.
It's in Skyrim where you put on the "Hey baby" pendant, and then everybody hits on you.
Wow.
And then you decide to marry
That's
anybody who hits on you, which is everybody. You can marry pretty much anybody in that game. Yeah, so it's kind of like...
It's strangely progressive in this racist country.
Exactly. It's like you can go marry like a same-sex cat or something. Like, okay.
Oh yeah, the Khajiit. I forgot about that.
Yeah. But the question is that kind of stuff really relevant in the Fallout universe? Like, everyone's dying, everyone's against each other, the world's gone to shit. Do you really give a shit if somebody has a crush on you? You know what I mean? I'm killing Deathclaws and shit with nuclear bombs.
Well, having depression, I would say, like, if I lived in that world, I would grab onto anything that made me happy. So I would certainly enjoy that aspect. It would be, oh, this is an interesting aspect of the character's story. Let's see how it turns out. And then she dies by a Deathclaw. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Although, like,
Deathclaws. I hate them.
What was... I just forgot. What was I was going to say? Oh, no. One Bethesda game that actually got me lit was Oblivion. And I always played as, like, a human race.
Yeah.
But I decided I wanted to do it like a thief save, and I played as like a Khajiit.
Ah.
And, dude, the Imperials are so racist.
Yeah. I mean...
Oh my god, like, you go anywhere and the guards are like, hey, furlicker. And I was like...
Just wow.
Yeah.
And I was impressed by that, because, like, it really pissed me off, because, like, I was like, but I'm still too low level to go kill you. So I was like...
I do enjoy. That is an aspect of video games I like, where they kind of, in its own universe, they show you a sort of something that's very real. It shows you racism. It shows you. I think in like Mass Effect, if you try to romance Tali, you sort of get an understanding of what it's like to be in a relationship with someone who is disabled in a sense, because she has a compromised immune system. So there's like the whole aspect where she's talking about how she's taking all these immunoboosters and vitamins and such.
I never thought about that.
I never thought about it either until I did that. I was like, oh yeah, people should be more considerate.
Yeah.
People need to be like, makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of developers do go out of their way to do that, and I think it's interesting. But I think there definitely draws like there should be a line drawn where it's like, do you give a character a specific character trait to explore how it is to be that character, or do you do it to get people talking? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's like
you know what I mean. You kind of have to do it really well. Just putting in a disabled character and not doing something interesting with it is sort of like, as I said, kind of by the numbers when it comes to emotional connection. It's just like, oh, well,
it's like there is the limit between doing it as eye candy and actually doing it that makes sense.
Yeah, doing something that's interesting and informative rather than just,
yeah,
hey, we have a lesbian couple, or hey, we have a disabled person, or just like do it well.
Yeah, for that kind of thing, actually, that's what I was happy that BioWare finally did for Dragon Age Inquisition that they did not do in the first two games. Like, you could have a same-sex couple in the first two games, but those characters were always bisexual. So it's just like, they'll go with anybody. But in Dragon Age Inquisition, Dorian is homosexual, and Sarah is homosexual. So it's kind of interesting. It's like, you can flirt with them, and they'll just be like, sorry.
You're barking up the wrong tree.
Yeah, and they'll basically give you a comment like that, and they're just like, oh, okay. Oh, all right. But like,
3 as well.
Yeah, and they do a really cool thing with Dorian where, like, basically the thing is he was shamed out of his family because he's gay. And he did not want to marry the woman that his family wanted him to marry. And he's just like, I'm just not willing to sacrifice my happiness for this. And, like, you can basically, like, dupe him into meeting his father without knowing it, or tell him about it. And, like, the way he treats you from the game will depend on that. But, like, you get a point where, like, a quest where, like, he does meet his father, and he's just like, no, you just don't understand. This is how it is. And it's interesting. Like, they didn't do that very well with Sarah, unfortunately, but they did it well with Dorian. And so, like, there were some gamers who talked about, like, I went in as a male character and I wanted to romance a female character, but I ended up with Dorian instead because I thought he was actually just a dude. It's like,
oh god, I've seen comic strips about that. It's like, all right, I best not make the wrong impressions. Like, male character says, "Hi." Next panel, it's them both in bed, and the guy's going, "Fuck."
that's more like Dragon Age 2. Because, like,
I think it was Dragon Age 2 because he had the
you're just
the
like,
strike.
hi, and Anders comes in, he's like, hey.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. Like, I entered into a relationship with Anders without even knowing.
Uh-oh.
The only way you know is by going into your mansion and checking, like, whose memorabilia is on your bed. And I checked my bed, and she's like, Anders' manifesto. And I was like, when did this happen?
Yeah.
It's not underwear, it's their manifesto.
Yeah, and so, like, I went up to him and I was like, look, sir, I am not going to be with you anymore. And he's like, well, I'm a good weekend. And I was like, I'm going to go be lady friends with Meryl. And now I have to go complete a bunch of blood magic rituals to do so. And so, like, I did. That is another.
Are they trying to say something there?
Where I roleplayed as a person I didn't want to be, just because I wanted to romance Meryl.
Yeah, I don't do that often, but I feel like I should, and I think I might start with Infamous Second Son because I played that entirely as a Paragon. I got the true hero, but then of course, like, there's a trophy where, well, there's an Infamous trophy where you get to be the true villain. I want to see what happens in this game when you play the bad guy. I'm
doing a dick face save on Mass Effect now, and I'm just going completely renegade, and it's really fun to be a dick to everybody.
Nothing's my favorite shop on the Citadel. I hate them all.
Fuck you.
I have done the occasional renegade thing in Mass Effect, even though I played the majority as a Paragon. Two of my favorite moments was I think one was in Mass Effect 2, the other was in Mass Effect 3. Mass Effect 2 is when you go up to the top floor of some mercenary building, and there's a guy standing in front of a window. You press the renegade option and pushes him out.
Push him out.
And it's like, and depending on who you take on that mission, I think Garrus has the best response in it. He goes, you could have just told him to leave or something, because he's the Archangel, he plays the Paragon.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I'm reminded of him in the first Mass Effect, where the opposite, where you tell the people in the Korra's den to just get out of here. Garrus goes, I would never have thought of that. So it's kind of like you rub off on. Yeah, there's an option where if your Paragon is slightly high enough, there are some people, like, they go freeze, like, get out of here. Yeah, we'll do that.
I always do that so early in the game where I have to just shoot it all up.
Yeah. Well, it's like you do have to shoot everybody. It's like just as you're about to enter the office, there are these two guys like hiding behind barrels.
Oh, okay, that one. Okay.
Blamey.
Yeah.
Still remember that after all these years. I had a hard time getting into games like Fallout and Mass Effect. It was like, I don't understand what's happening. And then I started listening to the stories, and I understood.
That's always helpful.
Yeah. That was like the turning point where I didn't just play games for, shiny, and stuff like that. I actually played games for their stories now as well, so.
Yeah.
Well, I think one really interesting thing that Dying Light does is you're in a fictional city of Hassan, which is the name of the bad guy. But what I found was really interesting is, like, you go into the game, you're just this white guy or whatever. But you go into the game, and what I don't kind of like is everybody's like fake accent.
Yeah.
Like they're fake whatever generic Middle Eastern accent. But it is implied everybody is of Arab.
I always thought I always thought it was South American.
I think I would assume from the kind of weird generic Middle Eastern music that they play that everybody is of some Arab descent, and there are also like African American characters, but there's like no white guys. There's like a few in like some wheelchairs and stuff, but there's not a lot.
They're all voiced by white guys.
Yeah. But the first time you meet like the leader of the group, that's a white guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
like,
that's my problem with Far Cry 4 as well. You know, it's like you're in the fucking Himalayas, and the main character has an American accent, the villain has a British accent, and everyone's, everyone's got this fake, this fake accent, and you're all from the Himalayas. So, okay, so the guy that everyone needs to associate themselves with has to have an American voice, of course. And the evil guy, fuck British people. He has to have a British voice.
Why are we always the bad guy?
I know, right? Like, how fucked up is that? And then, obviously, all the peasants can talk like they're from where they actually are from. Of course. Like, why not? What were you thinking? And to make it worse, he mispronounces his name, too. Like, it's part of the story. Yeah, he's like, my name's AJ. No, your name's Ajay. No, my name's AJ. Like, dude,
every time someone says that in the game, I just feel like I have a gun. It is loaded. And I hate...
And I think Tom and I actually had this conversation on Facebook.
Yeah, probably did. Probably did. And on that note, I don't know how long you guys are planning on going, but it's been around 2 hours.
It's about 2 hours. We should probably cut it off.
Yeah.
We didn't really
should
get to the
definitely
topic,
do this
but
more
we had a
often.
good conversation. And yes, we should do this more often. So.
Well, I mean, do we ever get to the topic? Has that ever been a thing?
No.
We kind of touched upon it.
Yeah.
That's,
I mean, we
more than
definitely
enough.
talked about our emotional responses to stuff.
Yes.
Maybe not how many people we, laid with, but...
And we talked about that AI that's going to eventually grow up and kill us all.
Yeah.
It's going to become Arnold Schwarzenegger. Come with me if you want to live stream. I've been waiting to say that joke for 2 hours, by the way.
Awesome.
It's like, when do I fit this in?
Perfect.
I totally forgot, but now I just remembered.
It's just all about patience.
Okay, so I think we capped our max at about 8 viewers today, so I think we're doing better.
We are
than we have before.
Definitely evolving.
Oh, we just got 7. Oh no, it's 6 again.
Yeah.
Well, we did get a couple
we're
comments,
leaving.
though, so...
Yeah. Okay, well, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully we will do this again, and once again, I apologize for the technical difficulties because I'm not used to doing this.
It happens.
Yeah, so hopefully we can all get together again and talk about more games.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
See you guys later.
All right, this is Commander Shepard signing out.
This is my favorite podcast in the Citadel.
Because I make it, damn it.
Indeed.
All right, we're done. Goodbye. Yeah.